Hey, you guys. Literally me. I'm Bunny. Sometimes I buy stuff, sometimes I say stuff, and sometimes I do stuff. What's up, guys? So, I'm actually saying stuff today, but like not in any type of product review. I honestly don't know how I'm going to put this video together. I started out with like a bunch of notes and some timeline things, and then I just scrapped it, and I thought it would just be kind of more candid just to sit here and like talk with you about this. Let me first start out by saying why I wanted to begin a YouTube channel. If you could tell by the thumbnail, I do have a transformation story. It's not all about weight loss, as the title kind of says, but that is a huge part of it. And before I get into that, I just want to kind of say that during that whole process, I had an Instagram account. I still have it, and it's my main account. But because I went through the weight loss and then some surgery, and now I'm this X type of person, I gained a huge following. I think at one point I had like over 20,000 people on my Instagram, followers or whatever. As cool as that was for me at the time in my mid 30s, as I got older, it started to become like I had to keep that Instagram up. A lot of people were looking at me as kind of like a fitness, diet, lifestyle influencer, and I at one point was like, I don't think this is how I want to be. Like, last year, I actually went to New York, and I met up with some girls that I met on Instagram, and we became like very good friends. If she's watching this, she knows who she is. But I went out and stayed in Brooklyn, and then this one girl, sweetest girl ever, I love her so much. She came and we met for the first time. And while we were talking, she said, "Oh, when you said you were going to come up here and you wanted to hang out, I looked at the calendar and I was like, oh, I have X amount of weeks to lose so much weight before we meet." And I was like, I don't want to be that person. I wasn't meeting her because she was some fit girl or not. Like, that made me feel like I just don't want to be taken that way. So I started the YouTube channel because one, I had always been really, really scared to do one. Two, I love editing videos. I have been doing videos since I was 14 years old with the VCR cam pack on, where editing was literally pressing the stop button, changing clothes and directions, and then pressing record, and then doing that scene, and then pressing pause, and then changing again. Like, I have just been doing videos forever, and I love it. But I was super scared to get on the YouTubes because, of the way I looked and how dorky I am and like all that kind of thing. So when I decided to make the YouTube, I wanted to make it without telling my weight loss story because I wanted to gain some audience of people that like knew me just for me and things that I liked, like music and makeup and clothes and just like all that kind of stuff. Like, I wanted people to just like kind of get to know me for that, and not that I did this quote unquote amazing thing with my life. It's been almost a year, and I have met like some really cool people on here, and I feel like that goal has been accomplished. And there is a reason that I am making this video right now and you are watching it today, and I will tell you that at the end of this video. I do want to start out, before we get into the journey, I do want to start out and say that there is a trigger warning here. I am going to be talking about weight, calories, exercise. There's going to be some side-by-sides. I'm going to try and keep it minimal, but if you are triggered by things like that, I just want to let you know that that is forthcoming. I also want you to know that I have no magic answer for any of you. Like, I don't even have a magic answer for myself. Like, this is just something that I did, and it's a life journey, guys. That's all I can say. I will say you're never too old to start. However, I will say that the older you get, the harder it is. And if I could have taken care of this in my younger years, I would have, but this is just how the dice rolled for me. And here I am. Okay, so just some background. I have been morbidly obese since second grade. So this was all due to lack of education and self-hatred that was caused by my family, particularly my mother. If we're gonna get a little personal here, I have not talked to my mother or her side of the family in over 15 years. I had to make the decision to cut her out because of the toxicity that it was on my life, and it's the only reason that I am here today in this state of being comfortable with myself and being confident. So there are some hard things that people have to do in order to move forward in life, and that unfortunately was one of mine. She was never happy with how I looked. She was never happy with my just personality in general. I was kind of like always an odd duck. I never dressed the way that normal kids dressed. I mean, like, I was just a kid, like, just doing, you know how they are, they're unjaded, they just do whatever they like, and that's kind of what I was doing, and she was definitely not my biggest fan, and I heard it a lot. I would say that I was probably mentally abused most of my life because of my weight, and that didn't really help the situation because it just made me want to crawl inside even more and comfort myself with more and more food. When she did try and help, it was not for the right reasons, and it came across totally the wrong way. I would say around 8 years old, she actually tried to get me on Medifast, which back in the 80s was like that nutritional shake diet, pretty much what you see nowadays. It's like you just drink one shake a day, and I want to say that probably wasn't good for me in my 8-year-old growing body, like when I was developing and stuff, because I was like getting powdered nutrients and low calories, and even though I was overweight, I don't know if that was like the perfect thing to do when you're developing. So looking back, I don't think that was like a very smart decision. I think maybe that kind of threw my metabolism off, especially when I hit my teenage years where you're supposed to start blossoming. I think that kind of hindered me a little bit. But it was a long childhood of public humiliation, family humiliation, like it was just so hard, guys. Like, I was constantly being told that I was ugly, that I was disgusting, that I was never going to fall in love. No one was ever going to take me to the prom. Nobody was ever going to marry me. Like, it was just a really hard thing to deal with. She hated the way that I dressed. I actually got beat with a belt like multiple times for wearing things that didn't match. I'm trying to keep it together. It was just a really hard life for me. And, it definitely extended into my teens, into my early 20s. I did really feel like I was not worth anything. There was a point in my life where I was like, you know what? No one is ever going to love me. And that took me to a very, very dark place many of times. And some of you already know that story. I'm not going to get into it again. But this is just the premise of where the issue of weight and appearance comes into my life. And I have worked very hard over the last 10 years to overcome that and get to a place today where I am confident enough to come on here and talk to you guys on a video and risk the ugly comments of the YouTube generation and all that kind of stuff. But you know what? I would have to say that after all of that, I am in a better place now. I have a husband who loves me. I have a beautiful home. I have a great job. I have a lot of amazing, amazing friends. And I couldn't have any of that if I didn't start loving myself. All right, so again, this is like all over the place. So I'm really trying to like figure out a good timeline here, but I'm just kind of like talking off the cuff. Let me take you back to college. So after a horrible, obviously middle school, high school life with my mother, my parents got divorced when I was 14. She moved out. It was the greatest thing ever. However, she still tried to like get into that. I'm sure if you're a mom, you understand, like, you just don't want to get rid of your children, but she still like, it was poison like all the time. I tried so many times to just like let her back in, and it was horrible. But anyway, after high school, I actually went off to college, and I would say around 21 years old, I actually stepped on the scale and I saw the 303 number. That was the highest number that I ever saw on a scale, was 303. And I was kind of like, but also like, I had said to myself in my teens that if I don't lose the weight by 21, I'm just not going to lose it, and that's just me. So at 21, when I walked on the scale and I saw 303, I was like, wow. So fast forward to I get a boyfriend in college, and we're pretty active, and I'm going to clinics and all this kind of stuff, and turns out that a lot of birth control was not going to work for me because of my weight and my blood pressure and my migraines, and I was getting nosebleeds and all this kind of stuff. And I went in for like a whole bunch of testing one time, and 21 years old, I had a nurse walk me into a room, shut the door, sit down, and she's like, honey, I need to have a real discussion with you. And I was sitting there, like big basketball, and was like, well, what is that? And she told me, based on all the results from my tests, that my heart was the same as a 73-year-old that has had 3 strokes already, and I was on the verge of having a stroke myself. I remember I left that office in tears, and my boyfriend, drove home, and I couldn't even explain to him like how that made me feel, like thinking that there's just like every time I tried to lose weight, I just couldn't do it. And here's a doctor telling me, basically, you are probably going to die. And I just thought about all the times that I tried to lose weight in the past 20 years, even prior to this, and nothing worked. So I was like, I was in a really dark place at that time. I was like, I'm never going to be able to be helped. All right, so fast forward a couple years, it's graduation time. I go ahead and I join Weight Watchers for the 7th time in my life. I actually joined the first time in 5th grade. I joined Weight Watchers again for the 7th time while I was in college. I managed to drop 25 pounds before graduation. And I actually have a photo of me at an event that I was invited to at 275. So in this black and white photo, I am 275. I remember I felt so amazing because I was invited to a gala that I had actually designed the invitation for. I was in design school for college by this time. So I designed an invitation for a charity gala. They invited me. I went to go buy a dress, and I went to Catherine's and I found that dress, and it was a size 26, I think. And I just was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I can fit into a 26. I was so excited. I felt great. Fast forward, graduate college. I come down to Georgia to move with the boyfriend from college. Not with him anymore. You can imagine my life was like kind of like up and down the whole time. I actually did transfer my Weight Watchers membership from college down to Georgia, and I went like a couple times, but life just gets ahead of you, and I stopped going, and I kind of just tried to do it myself, and I ended up from like 275, I kind of got down to like the 250 area, and that's when I met my hubs. Credit to him, he watched me struggle with self-confidence and all of that through the beginning part of our relationship. But he assured me that he saw something in me that was totally unrelated to any of the way that I looked, and was completely loving and caring and supportive of anything that I wanted to do. So I was super, super grateful for that. Like I said, we got married when I was very large. I'll pop a picture right here. I hate using the terms like fat and large and all of that because it's very degrading. It's just I don't have another way to describe how I felt at that time. And I really did feel degraded and low and all of that kind of thing. So it's really the only terms that I have right now. I would never use those to describe somebody else because I would never want to put a negative connotation on somebody. So please forgive me if you do hear these. These terms are only applying to me. Anyway, when we got married, that was about the time that I had to say goodbye to my mother and my sister. They could not believe that I was in a stable, loving relationship. They had a really hard time believing that somebody was actually going to love and take care of me, and they did a lot to try and split us apart. Very stupid TV-worthy stories on their end. It just showed a level of immaturity and lack of compassion that I just don't want to deal with. So we said bye. And it was the best thing that we ever did. So here we are like 15 years later, super happy and thriving. And no, I have no intention of ever bringing those people back in. All right, so comes the actual moving into the real weight loss. So there was a time, and Listen, again, I told you at the beginning, I don't have a magic answer for you. There was just something in my head popped and was like, you need to take care of this. There was nothing going on, nothing prompted it. It was in October of 2014. It was just some random day. I woke up, I took a photo of myself in the mirror, which is I had been doing for a long time. Like I'll pop photos. I have taken so many photos of me because I was like, I'm gonna start. And it just never goes anywhere, you know? So I took this photo in the mirror in October 2014, and I looked at it and I was like, I'm so sick of this. I'm fucking sick of this. I've got to do something. At that point, I was like in the 220-ish range. So definitely down from where I was a long time ago. And I thought that that was like, you know, pretty good. But still, I had a body that was just disgusting me every time that I looked at it. Didn't disgust anybody else, just disgusted me. That weekend, I went and I joined Weight Watchers for the 8th and final time. That's right, 8th and final time. So that was in October. So by July of the next year, I had actually reached my weight loss goal of 150 and got my golden key from my Weight Watchers members and the leader that watched me this whole time. And she loved me so much. I am so grateful for her. Like all the support, you know, it was not a steady decline. It was up and down every week, but I just taught myself how to portion out food, how to be moderately active, just all of these things that I didn't care enough about myself to do prior. Now, how did I do that? Well, of course, they make you point out all of your meals and stuff. So I was eating less, but my choice of movement was I learned to start running. I know, it's crazy, right? Runner, what? Yes, I learned to start running. It was a very tumultuous task, but I remember the first day I woke up in the morning and I was like, I'm gonna go do it. And I woke up, it was dark outside. I never ran before in my life. And I went out there and I think 20 feet in, I fell on the sidewalk and scraped up all my legs and elbows and arms and almost had to call my husband to get out of bed and come get me. So that was like a learning experience. So from that point, I started to walk, and then I sped walk, and then I learned to run. I learned how to shift my body in order to compensate for the weight and all of that. And it was a very long, drawn out process. I remember the day that I hit my first under 10-minute mile. That was such a milestone. I remember the first time I hit my first 5K and then my first 10K. I mean, like this was so many years in the making. It was amazing. Like I was on a wave of I can actually do something about myself. I ended up losing like 60 to 70 pounds or so on the Weight Watchers and doing the running. And that brings us to my skin removal surgery. So this is kind of what prompted the Instagram account to get to so many followers. I think at that time, back in 2015, a lot of people were still curious about how that worked. I remember I actually went and got a consultation. It was actually a little bit heavier at that point, and he said that it was completely doable. I got the price, and so I was like, okay, let me try and fit this into my life. So I actually lost 20 more pounds after that on the Weight Watchers, and then I decided that I was just going to go move forward with that procedure. It was very, very, very scary. I carried a lot of weight in the middle of my body. So I had an apron that hung over to like my mid thigh. And then I had like these udders that were coming from my abdomen. So he said that it was completely doable. And I was like, all right, I think we're going to do this. Very many kind of scary thoughts prior to that. I was having like gory nightmares of like them actually, like they literally like cut you in half and cut all this stuff off. And it's like, it was a thing. I ended up going through with it just because I figure I worked so hard and I wanted to continue. Like I literally wanted to continue. This had been years of steady work and diet, and I felt like that I was ready. I would never advise anybody to go get this done if they don't think that they're going to be able to keep it up, because it is a lot to go through. And if you think that there's a chance that you're going to regain that weight back, please do not go through this. This is such a hard surgery, and it's going to change your shape for life. When you do start gaining weight back, because things have been shifted around, you're never going to look normal again. I don't know how else to put it. It's a very weird thing because they cut off fat cells, they lipo fat cells, and when you start gaining weight in the fat cells that weren't taken out, it's not in the areas that it's like a weird thing. So just PSA, if you ever think about going through something like this, please be at a weight that you are comfortable with maintaining. Now, with that being said, I actually went and I got the lower tummy tuck first. So at that time, I was like, that's all I need. So I got the lower pouch apron removed, and I'll try and pop a picture here of like the before and after if I can find it. That was a grueling recovery period. That was it. So what they had to do, because when you're that heavy and the weight's pulling your abdomen muscles forward, when they have you open while they're taking the skin off, they actually sew your abdomen muscles like back onto your abdomen wall. And so it is a soreness that you are never going to anticipate, understand. It is the worst thing. You're hunched over for like 2 months because you can't stretch out and like, stand up straight. It is the worst thing. You can't lay on your side. You can't, it's so many things. Every time you eat something, you feel like you're swelling up to a beach ball. It's a grueling recovery. It took me 3 or 4 months before I could even speed walk again, like, because my body would just swell up every time I did anything like extraneous. Like it was so hard. I actually had to have a scar revision 3 months after the initial surgery, which scared the shit out of me. One of the places in my lower incision, the scar kind of like tucked in and pulled, so it just didn't look aesthetically pleasing. And the doctor was like, I want to fix that. And so I actually had to go under again, and they had to fix that scar, which I'm very glad that I did. It's just, I had just went through that experience 3 months ago, and here I am again, like doing it again. And then it turns out 1.5 years after that, because I did get so much more active. Once I recovered fully, I was in the gym, I was doing like so much stuff. I actually lost even more weight after that. And that caused everything on my abdomen that I didn't get tightened to look even worse. I actually lost my belly button. It was like kind of folded in between 2 pieces of skin. So I went back and I got the vertical, or what they call a fleur-de-lis tummy tuck done, which, okay, I'm going to admit, it left me with a very big dark scar, especially right around my belly button. Even all of that though, I will say I am never going to regret getting the vertical done, because my abdomen was so wonky looking, and this is the only way that I was ever going to get something that looked more normal to me. And I don't regret it at all. I would do it again. I would take the scar again, and who knows, maybe in the future I can get that, revised and it will look better, but it is not on my priority list right now. So anyway, fast forward through all of that. That last one was done, I believe, in 2016. So it has definitely been some time since I had any type of skin removal surgery, and I have just been enjoying it. I still, to this day, I wake up at 3 in the morning, and my husband and I go to the gym every single day. Every single day. We go, okay, not every single day. We take the weekends off, but I do still go. And when I go, I'm not just, walking on the treadmill and like doing some stuff. I'm literally working. I do legs and squats on Monday. I do back and biceps on Tuesday. I do all cardio on Wednesday. I do shoulders and cardio on Thursday, and I do deadlifts and legs on Friday. Like, that's how it is. Like, I do that every week. It's the only way for me to maintain. I will tell you that going from 35 to now 43 this year, it is getting a lot harder. It's getting a lot harder. I definitely don't lift as heavy as I did back when I was 35. The cardio is a lot harder to keep up the endurance. The weight on my body. Like, I cannot explain how age affects. My body is constantly trying to fight me. It wants to go back to that 300 pounds. I was that 300 pounds for more of my life than I have been healthy. And so it's constantly like muscle memory, just trying to get back there. And I'm fighting it every day. There was a point in my life where I was so determined to be as lean and skinny as I could possibly be. Like I was doing everything that I could, and I have gotten down to very low body weight for the size that I am and the age that I am. And I was doing a lot of cuts and gains and cycles and all of that stuff to try and like maintain muscle mass and build muscle mass, but look as skinny as I could. Like it's a madness game when you're into it. And I will say the last cut that I did back in, it was for my 41st birthday. Right. Okay. So it was after the pandemic. So what happened was I gave myself 6 months, actually almost a year. So I had hired a trainer and I told him that this was in August. I told him that I wanted to be X weight by March for my 10-year anniversary. And then I wanted to be X weight for June 41st birthday. So I think I wanted to lose 15 pounds in that. Now, if you think about it, 15 pounds in a year is it's not unheard of. Like, especially for me, like in my 40s, I'm like 15 pounds in a year should happen. So from that August to January, he, I guess, tried his best, but I ended up gaining 12 pounds from where I started, and I ended up gaining 3% body weight in that August to January. So you can imagine my mind, like I'm running out of time. Now I only have 3 months to my 10-year anniversary and 6 months to my 41st birthday that we were going to Miami for. I am going to be on the beach in a bikini. What happened was I had bought like a contract with him. So I actually had him until March. But from January to March, I kept with his exercise plan, but I started doing my own diet. I went back to keto, which I'm not even going to get into that because that's a whole other story. Keto was the only thing that worked for me to shed actual body fat if I was looking to try and get lean. So he was against that. He had been feeding me beef and rice for months, and I was doing nothing but gaining weight and gaining body fat. So I decided to just go back to the keto, even just for the 3 months until my anniversary. I still had to report to him every week when I weighed in and did my measurements and everything. And I remember the first week of me cutting out the carbs, I dropped, I think 2.5 pounds and 0.5% of body fat. And he was like, all right, well, I guess just keep continuing. And I did. And every week, lost more weight, lost more body fat. So by the time March came around, I actually hit the goal that I had in mind for March, and I got to fit into this dress that was my goal dress for our 10-year anniversary. Was really happy about that I worked hard for that, but I was still far away from the June goal that I had for Miami Beach. So I had 3 months. So what happened was I went a little bit crazy. My contract was up for him. He's gone. The trainer's out. This is all me. I really should have just continued with the keto thing and just did it slowly, but in my mind, unhealthily, I just was like, it was balls to the wall at that point. I was only eating 800 calories a day. It didn't matter. It wasn't keto. It wasn't anything. It was just literally only 800 calories, and I was working out twice a day. And I will say that I did get to what I was looking for. I'm going to pop a before and after here. So that after picture is the morning of my last weigh-in before Miami Beach. And if you can see, I definitely got to where I was. I was completely happy with that. I was like, okay, I am bikini ready now. Went to the beach, had an amazing time. I felt great. Although Hubs will tell you, I took some photos and I said to myself, I look so fat. So even after all that and looking like that after picture, I still would look at myself and be like, I look so fat. Like, what is wrong with me? So fast forward a couple months after that, I started to notice that the drastic changes that I made to my body during that time to get bikini ready were taking a toll on me. I started to lose my hair in clumps. Like, it was just coming out like it by the fistfuls in the shower. My eczema flared up. My skin was totally inflamed everywhere. My bathroom habits were not great. Like everything, my body was just like, stop, stop, stop. You're not feeding us correctly. You're overworking yourself. We're going into panic mode. I remember when I was standing in the shower with clumps full of hair, I was like, is this really worth it? Is trying to get to this body that I'm looking for worth this? So I had a really, really hard talk with myself, and I told myself that I was no longer going to strive for that lean, thin body that everybody wants to see. I'm telling you, when I was posting those before and after pictures on Instagram, I was getting thousands of likes, thousands of comments, more people following. Like it was some kind of like weird disease that I was like bringing on myself. And after that last cut from Miami, I said, this is no longer what I'm living for. Like I said, we still go to the gym every day, but I have decided that I want to enjoy my life and not cut things out. I want to add things in. So I still kind of watch what I eat, but it's not to the level of like when I'm trying to look like Miami bikini body. And it shows, I'm definitely like a little softer all over than I once was. But the thing is I know that I'm healthy. I work out every day. I don't eat a ton of junk food. I'm kind of like a normal person right now. And really when I think about it, that's what I was really looking for this whole time, was just to feel normal, because I never did. I was always the outcast. I was always the fat one. I was always the weird one. I was always the one that didn't know how to take care of herself and didn't know what was good for her. And now I'm in a stage of self-care and self-discovery and just going on vacations with hubs and not caring. I'm probably not the body type that I wish I was, back when I was 35 and at my prime, but it's just, we're all dying, and what am I gonna do, be on my deathbed oh God, I wish I was skinnier, going into that coffin, not getting buried, by the way, I'm gonna get cremated, but am I gonna be oh, they're gonna need such a large jar for me? What kind of life is that? You know what I mean? So I am at a place in my life where I'm not scared about putting masks on myself anymore. Not terribly scared. I'll be honest, there's always going to be that little voice. I don't know if I got to start some therapy or something, but there's always going to be that little voice in me that's going to be but I'm at a really good place right now where from day to day I am functioning as a healthy human being, and I'm enjoying things when I can, and I'm self-loving and I'm self-caring and all of that stuff. And I'm very grateful for where I'm at right now. And another little part of the transformation story that actually turned out to be the most important part of the entire thing. So back before the shutdown, I made the decision, after I told myself so many times that I wouldn't, I made the decision to go get Invisalign. And let me tell you, let's take the weight and the body and the tummy tucks and all of that out of the story. The most amazing thing I ever did for myself was straighten my teeth. I cannot even tell you how much of a difference it has made in my life. I'm gonna pop a before and after picture right here of my old smile versus my new smile. Man, not only was I that dorky, overweight girl, but whenever people tried to take a photo of me, I hated smiling because my mouth was so jacked up. It was so jacked up. I hated looking at myself in pictures. I hated looking at myself in videos, especially talking. I used to get the worst comments about my teeth. Even my friends, even though they weren't being mean about it, they were, did you ever think about getting braces? It has always been such a thing, and I thought that there was a point in my life where I'm I'm never gonna get braces. I'm too old. It's just too much pain. Forget it. And once I went through the weight loss transformation, and I was you know what? I think I'm gonna give this a shot. And It wasn't easy. It was just like the weight loss was not easy. It was, the trays were tight and my teeth moving hurt. And it was 2 years of back and forth with the trays and all this kind of stuff. But man, when I see myself in photos now, like the difference of my smile is like, it's amazing to me. It is the best thing that I've ever done in my life to like transform my look. Like I can't even explain it. I am so genuinely smiley in photos now, and like so listen, weight loss aside, if you are ever thinking about getting your teeth straighter, just fucking do it, because it is the best thing that I have ever done in my entire life. Moving on from that, and the other real reason why I'm making this video is, guys, so you are watching this on a Monday, I believe January 30th. So tomorrow, Tuesday, January 31st, I am actually getting a breast augmentation. That's right, guys, I'm getting some boobs. This is not just a fly-by-night decision. This is something that has been in my mind for a very long time. My husband always asked me why I did not get it done when I got the tummy tuck, because most women, when they go and get the tummy tuck, if they need a breast augmentation, they go and get it done at that time, and then they have like this new slamming body or whatever. And I was not one of those women. I literally just got the tummy tuck. I did not touch the boobs. There were a couple reasons for that. One, I was super scared about putting more mass on my body. The whole reason I wanted the surgery was to take mass off my body. So the idea of putting something that would make me feel bigger at that time was terrifying. So I was like, hell no, I'm not doing it. The other part of it was I never have had breasts like my entire life, like ever. Even when I was 300 pounds, I did not have large breasts. My body just does not carry weight there at all. So a lot of the women, when they get the tummy tucks done, they need a breast lift because they had huge boobs like while they were heavy, and then when they lose all that weight, they fall. And I never had that problem. My boobs still sit like very nice. They're not saggy. They're, they're just deflated and small. So I did a lot of research in the past couple of years about breast augmentations. I've talked to a lot of women that have them done. I will tell you, I have not met a single woman or talked to a single woman who regretted getting them. Every single woman loved them. Even a lot of the women that I talked to with the tummy tucks, they told me they could have just done the boobs and felt fine. Like they didn't even need the tummy tuck. The boobs gave them everything that they wanted. And that's great for them and everything. I even talked to women about I've talked to some women that had the silicone disease. So, it's that kind of body reaction that happens when you have breast implants in and you start getting inflammation in your joints and everything, and nobody can figure out what it's from, and they just assume it's from the breast implants. So a lot of women get them taken out to hopefully control some of that inflammation. I've actually talked to 2 women that have had that done, and both of them were severely sad that they had to get their breast removed. And they said that they even may try again in a couple years to get them put back in. It's crazy, isn't it? Like you would do that, but that's how much women, I guess, love them. And for somebody like me who's never had the experience of feeling that feeling, I decided I wanted to try that. So tomorrow I will be getting that done and saying goodbye to the gym for 6 weeks, and also kind of, I don't know what the video schedule is going to be like. I don't have anything queued up to play while I'm recovering. I might put some shorts in or something. But hey, comment down below if you want me to check in with some shorts or something before I can actually make like a fully produced video. Also, if you could comment and just wish me luck, that would also be really, really awesome. But yeah, I am making this decision, and I paid for it in full, in cash, so I'm not financing or anything like that. This is definitely, I have been saving and researching for a long time, and so I was able to just pay it off. I'm not financing like I did my tummy tuck. I financed my tummy tuck that was over 10 grand, and I paid it off in 2 years. But this one, I just saved up the money and I just paid it outright. So Anyway, guys, to wrap this up, yes, I am getting breast augmentation. I have had this amazing weight loss life transformation journey. It's not really even about the weight. It is about me knowing that now I have the ability to do what's right for me and love myself and take care of myself. And I'm still going. I'm still doing it. I have not fallen off. That's the big thing for me, is just knowing that I can do it. And that was the greatest gain out of this whole thing. And again, I wanted to kind of like generate an audience on YouTube before I shared this story, because I didn't want to be known as like that girl that just like lost some weight when she was in her mid-30s and transformed into this thing. So I want to thank you, everyone that has been watching me from the beginning or caught me along the way up until now and supported me. Thank you so much. Thank you if you just clicked on this video and are still watching. And if you have any questions, I can try and help you. Also, if you're interested in following my fit Instagram, which is not so much side-by-sides anymore, but it still shows me at the gym every day, you can let me know that too. It's private, so I can't just like leave it and you guys join. You'd have to let me know that you want to follow. But just comment down below and let me know. And yeah, so wish me luck on tomorrow, and hopefully I will see you guys. Probably still a little hunched over and recovering, but I will definitely try and make it back here and give you some updates. That's all I have for you guys. If you could please like this video, it really does help me out. If you could comment below on just whatever you want. I have said a million things in this video that you could comment on. You pick one and you do it. And if you could subscribe so you can follow all of my life antics. I don't know where we're gonna go from here. I might have some boob content. Who the hell knows? I love you so much. I will see you on the next one, just a little bit different.